Well, the Eagles just got more game-changing news ahead of the rematch with the Giants, as not only do we have an update on A.J. Brown's injury that I'm sure no Eagles fan was hoping for, but the Giants also dropped some injury news of their own, and it seems like they could be without some crucial players on Sunday, including one of their best defenders. Meanwhile, the retired legend Jason Kelce spoke on the struggles of the Eagles' offensive line and gave fans some hope that the problems will be fixed, while Brandon Graham also spoke following his return, and it seems like he hasn't missed a beat at all. So let's talk about that and all the other latest news starting right now. So we are counting down the days leading up to the Eagles and Giants NFC East rematch on Sunday, and as much as this is just the next game on the Birds' schedule at the end of the day, and the preparation is really no different than from any other week, it definitely does seem like there's also a little bit of extra motivation for Philly going into this one, as of course, these two teams literally just saw each other about 2 weeks ago on Thursday Night Football, and New York absolutely embarrassed Philly in pretty much every sense. I mean, on offense, Jackson Dart and Cam Jurgens just dominated and took over. I mean, they made Philly's defense look soft. And then on the other side, Jalen Hurts and the offense had their worst game of the season, and the Giants' defense had their way at times. So, safe to say, the Eagles are going to want to get their get back in this one. And even though, again, this is obviously just the next game on the schedule and everything is business as usual, some guys do seem to be using that loss as just a little bit of extra source of motivation.
Obviously, if we're getting up more for one game than the other, then we're not doing our job on a consistent basis. And so that's why you try to keep that same boring mindset over and over and over and over again, regardless of the opponent, regardless of anything. So, it's business as usual. And I've said this before. It's like, hey, if you need a little extra motivation and that doesn't distract, it's always about, does it distract you to put that extra motivation on you? Then don't use it. If it helps you, use it. Like, everybody's a little bit different there.
I'm excited. So personally, I am. So.
What, is there anyone who's not excited? Like, what you see personally?
No, everyone's excited. For me, it's I feel like I played my worst game of my career 2 weeks ago, and I wasn't happy with that. And so for me, it's just gotta, just go out there and do my job, do a better job than I did last time. Kind of was passive, very passive. So.
Are you one of those guys who use stuff like that as motivation?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, once you get your like that, I'm definitely going to use motivation. So, obviously, it's just another game. But at the end of the day, the last time we played them, things went wrong, and we didn't like that. So, we're motivated and we're excited.
Definitely glad to hear that the Eagles are getting fired up for this game, and something that only adds to that is the return of Brandon Graham. As fresh off retirement, the now 16-year veteran has been back out on the practice field the past couple of days so that he can hopefully be ready to take the field come Sunday and make his official return to action. And based on the comments from his teammates and also from himself, it really does sound like he just hasn't missed a beat at all, both in terms of trash talking and also his play out on the field.
Was he talking a lot?
Yeah. BG is gonna be BG. Same dude, just chatting the whole practice, talking trash. So, yeah, it's nice having him back.
First off, BG said he wanted to come after you first and chirp a little bit. Did he do that today?
He did in the stretch. In the stretch, he was already talking smack. I was just like, oh man, and he was the only one talking. It was like quiet. All you heard was music, and you just hear BG. Yeah, I can hear you breathing heavy already. Yeah, fat boy. Ha ha ha.
How does the body feel after the first practice?
Man, I feel like no expectations, man. Feel like feel good today. I'll just say that. I ain't gonna go too crazy, but I felt good. Felt good.
You want to play? You want to play this week?
We gonna see, man. I'm gonna let coach do that.
How long does it take to get a football shirt?
Well, you know what, man. I don't feel too far off, honestly, because I've been training like just like my whole training camp for the past 2.5, 3 months.
You had two tough injuries late last season. How do you feel now compared to when you first got hurt last year?
I feel good. I feel like nothing happened. You know what I'm saying? It's healed up. Body feel fresh. I knew I didn't really. I knew I wasn't all the way done, honestly. But I was hoping that they didn't need me, but. I'm actually glad to be back.
I'm honestly just so fired up about BG being back. And, based on what he said, it sounds like he's feeling really, really good. It sounds like he's healthy. and it legitimately does sound like there's a possibility that he could be out there in this game against the Giants. So drop a like down below for that. Let's see if we can get to at least 500 likes today. But obviously, that's just speculation. We won't actually know whether BG is going to be available not until later in the week, probably either tomorrow or right before the game on Sunday. But again, there was an early report in the week from Jeff Kerr saying that BG is expected to be available. So, I'm definitely optimistic about that. And whenever he gets out there, I'm just curious to see how he looks, what kind of role he has, and how much of a boost he can add to this defense. And also, you can't forget about the leadership, the energy, and the trash talk that he brings, because that's all just so valuable as well.
I'm back, Rain. I'm coming to get that Popeye's chicken sandwich, boy. Extra spicy. Boo boo. That's all you gonna hear. Boo boo. They can't hold up. Hey, go blue, but I'm coming over there too. We gonna be in your dreams tonight, I promise you. Hey, 2-2. Not this way, big dog. We about to win it. You must don't know Jalen Hurts like I know Jalen. Yeah. You must don't know Jalen Hurts like I know him. Don't worry, fo. I'm coming. 2-8. You too slow for me, man. You good dog.
Hey, next play. All right, gotta get 3 and out. 3 and out right here, all right? Hey.
Hit me in my face.
Hey.
Yeah,
next play, let's go.
I know. I got you. I'm with you, Flex.
All right.
You know you hear me 15. I'm good. I'm good today. 2-6. Yeah, you better be focused because you know what's up. You feel fire one time. Blue, 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 blue.
Whether BG is out there on Sunday or not, the Eagles are definitely going to need to do a better job at stopping the run than they did in their last game against the Giants, and a huge part of that is the quarterback run game. As if you'll remember, Jackson Dart did a ton of damage on the ground in their last matchup and bailed the Giants out of a lot of tough situations. So, I think doing a better job there is going to be one of the keys to winning this game, and overall, they're just going to have to be a lot more physical and aggressive than they were 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, obviously, we never like to get our tails whooped like that, and especially with our defense, we didn't play as aggressive as we should have. That's not. No excuses need to be made. They just played better than us. They had more energy on their sideline, and we just played on our heels the whole time. Yeah, we've played guys like that. We played Pat Mahomes, plenty of times, and we Baker Mayfield, and you see what we do to those quarterbacks, and we just got to do the exact same thing. So. But
I think this is something Vic pointed out 2 weeks ago. If you look at the run defense numbers, if you take out the QB run game, you guys are real good against the run. But that's kind of been, I don't want to say the Achilles heel, but the thing that's cost you guys.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough at times, but at the end of the day, we're working on that and getting that fixed.
Yeah, again, they definitely got to be more aggressive than they were in that game. And again, stopping Jackson Dart in the quarterback run game is going to be super important because, like it was pointed out there, that's kind of been an Achilles heel of this Eagles defense so far. And without that, the numbers against the run actually look pretty good. So, hopefully they make some strides there in this game. And then flipping it around and talking about the Eagles run game, that's obviously been a big problem as well. And there's multiple reasons for that, but arguably the biggest one has been the performance of the offensive line. You can see here, they're just not executing well, and the numbers across the board are below average in every sense. And when it comes to stuffed run percentage specifically, they are second to last in the entire league. So again, that is definitely an issue with the offensive line.
I think negative runs, honestly, is more of like an O-line thing. I think you want to be able to take care of that first line of defense, and if that doesn't happen, it's probably something wrong. So I think this is more of just us trying to continue with the details and things like that, and just knowing that when teams do something different, just being able to adjust faster to it, and then getting everything else rolling.
Yeah, again, it's clear that a lot of these negative runs and just issues in the run game in general are a direct result of poor execution by the offensive line. And, if there's any chance of the Birds getting the run game on track, they just have to be better. But I am actually very much encouraged by what Eagles legend Jason Kelce just said on WIP radio, as he seems to think that the offensive line will get things figured out. It's just a matter of getting everybody fully healthy and playing at that high standard that we're so used to seeing.
How bad is it?
Yeah, the 1 yard being touched is all. Whenever you're getting hit that early, it's offensive line or blocking related, right? Unless you are just saying like the worst play possible, but that is, even that doesn't hold up over a whole game, right? I thought they started out really well in the game. I thought they started out with like 8 of 12 of their first plays in the first drive or runs. and they were actually pretty effective. Then Cam went down and kind of started falling apart quite a bit. And I think that that's kind of been the way the whole season has been for the offensive line to date. I think that if you look at what happened with Andy's last year here, with a lot of part of why Doug ended up leaving, when the offensive line gets banged up, it's really, really hard to replace those guys, especially when you're used to operating with perennial All-Pro and Pro Bowl caliber guys the way we have for such a long time with Jeff Stoutland and the Philadelphia Eagles. Landon obviously was playing banged up. I actually think Landon looks back to the way he was playing before earlier in the season. I think you've seen that. The game before he went down with the ankle injury, I saw him redirecting and moving and playing back to his old self. Then he got the ankle injury. Then this last week, I thought he played really well.
Do we need Landon to be moving to center and have someone else to come in and be the guard on whichever side?
Yeah, I think that that's always an option because he's done both. In my opinion, you get more out of Landon at guard. Now, if center can't get figured out, and I don't know what the status is of Cam Jurgens, obviously they drafted Drew Kendall, right? They signed this Willie Lampkin kid from the Rams. So there's a lot of options at the center position. I don't know where they're at from like a health standpoint and what they'll do this week. But I do think Landon, he can play center. But because of his mass and his size, from like a health standpoint and what they'll do this week. But I do think Landon, he can play center. But because of his mass and his size, you affect more in the running game with the type of player he is at a guard position. So I'd prefer him to play guard. Now, they just signed Sua Opeta. I don't know if he's ready to go, and Sua's played a lot of good football for the Eagles before.
Oh, great.
Matt Pryor has played a lot of really good football at guard. He obviously didn't do great at tackle earlier this year, but I think that they're figuring that out. I'm actually optimistic once these guys get healthy that it will get sorted.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think what Kelce said is very encouraging. If Landon is back to his old self, that's obviously huge and gives the offensive line an overall big boost. And now it's just about, getting Cam Jurgens healthy because he's been banged up all season long. But overall, whether you want to blame it on injuries or whatever, there's no question that the offensive line just as a whole has not played up to standard this season. So, getting these guys healthy is the number one main goal right now, but everyone's just got to execute better, and the play calling hasn't exactly helped either. However, I do think things are definitely headed in the right direction when it comes to the run game. I mean, we saw just last week that the Eagles started going to more outside runs, 10 of them to be exact, where they then averaged 4.3 yards per carry. So, that's pretty good, and I think, that shows that the play calling there is getting better. And, obviously there's still room to grow. Everyone's got to get healthy. But again, I do think they're trending in the right direction. And now it's just a matter of actually going out there and showing that improvement. Obviously, though, it might be hard to do that until they get fully healthy, like I said. And as of Thursday, Cam Jurgens missed his second straight practice in the lead up to the Giants game after suffering a knee injury last week. So, I don't think that's in any way surprising. And I actually think it could be a good thing for Cam to sit out this game and through the bye week. Again, just so he has a chance to fully get healthy. But again, for this week, it definitely seems like Cam is not going to play. So that means Brett Toth is set to fill in there at center. And then on top of that, it also seems like both cornerback Adoree Jackson and edge rusher Azeez Ojulari are going to miss this game as well, as they were out of practice again on Thursday. And, again, I don't really think that's a surprise. And at corner, I'll actually be curious to see if it is in fact Jakorian Bennett that gets the start after they opened his 21-day practice window on Wednesday, because as Anthony DeBona pointed out, we've seen Jackson, we've seen Ringo at this point, so now is the perfect time to see what we have in Bennett before the trade deadline. That way you can get a gauge on if you want to make a move or not. Moving on though, the big surprise of the week was obviously the news that A.J. Brown is dealing with a hamstring injury, and after missing practice on Wednesday, the situation there just got worse, as yet again on Thursday, A.J. Brown was not practicing, which, I think that's a clear sign that he's unfortunately not going to be playing on Sunday. And I mean, there's just so many questions to ask regarding this injury. Like, for starters, we don't even know what happened or when it happened. We don't know if this is a new injury or if it's the same injury that he had back in training camp and it just never fully healed and he re-injured it or had a flare-up. And we also don't know how serious it is and if AJ's in danger of missing extended time. Now, I will say, I do think it's a good sign that he was reportedly working off to the side with the trainer today, but we honestly still don't have much information. And again, as I said in my last video, if AJ can't play in this game, then that's obviously going to be a major blow to this Eagles offense, and it's kind of the last thing that they need right now after we finally saw them make strides in the passing game last week. And AJ, of course, had a massive performance in that one. Now, luckily, they obviously still got Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert, both of who are having great seasons, and the former of which is coming off a career performance. Speaking of which, shout out to Smitty, man. Like, he is actually having a career season up to this point, and he's on pace for a career best 1,224 receiving yards, and he currently ranks 3rd in yards per target, 4th in catch percentage, 4th in passer rating when targeted, 8th in total EPA, and 9th in receiving yards. So, again, he's having a great year, he's super underrated, and hopefully he can continue performing well this week against the Giants, especially if AJ is out. And also, I guess in regards to that, it's also good news that the Eagles have now activated the 21-day practice window for undrafted rookie wide receiver Darius Cooper, as if AJ can't go, he could potentially be somebody that gets some of those additional snaps, and who knows, maybe he makes a play or two if given the opportunity. I mean, let's not forget, he was really impressive in training camp in the preseason, so we'll see what happens there. Switching over to the Giants side of things, though, they've actually kind of been crushed by the injury bug this week ahead of the Eagles matchup. I mean, as of Thursday, 5 defensive players were absent from practice, those being cornerback Paulson Adebo, edge rusher Brian Burns, defensive lineman DJ Davidson, defensive lineman Chauncey Golston, and safety Javon Holland. And 3 of those guys are starters, those being Adebo, Burns, and Holland. So not having them along with the other guys for this game could really, really hurt them, especially Brian Burns, who is currently dealing with the hip injury that he suffered in the game against the Broncos, because he's obviously one of their best players. He's one of the better edge rushers in the NFL, and actually, so far this year, he leads the league in sacks with 9. And in the last game against the Eagles, Burns wreaked havoc and was a huge reason for the Giants' dominance in that one, as he had 2 big sacks and played a really good overall game. So again, being without Burns would be a major blow to the Giants' defense and would make things a little bit easier on the Eagles' offense and specifically the O-line. So, I'll continue to monitor that situation just as well as anything else that comes out in the lead up to the Eagles vs. Giants matchup on Sunday. And you guys know that I'm going to be covering that. I'm going to have probably one more video out tomorrow giving my prediction and just everything else in the lead up to the game. So if you don't want to miss it and you don't want to miss any other Eagles coverage coming throughout this season, then make sure you subscribe and you turn on notifications. And also leave a like down below because it really does help me out so much. Again, let's see if we can get to at least 500 likes today. And also hit the hype button because that helps me out a ton as well. And leave a comment down below just regarding anything that I talked about in this video. And if you do want to watch another Eagles video going over some other stuff from earlier in the week, you can check this out right here. And now with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.